Hello everyone. In this session of CCNA series, I'll discuss on configuration and operation of switch interfaces. We'll also discuss about interface speed, duplex, and description, or how to disable the interface. And we'll end the session with a discussion on auto-negotiation concepts. Cisco IIS uses the term interface to refer to physical ports on a network device used to forward data to and from other devices. Each interface can be configured with several settings, each of which might differ from interface to interface. iOS uses interface subcommands to configure these settings. Let's begin with a discussion of three relatively basic per interface settings: the port speed, duplex, and a text description. Speed is the rate of the interface, usually listed in megabits per second. Common Ethernet speed include 10 Mbps, 100 Mbps, and 1000 Mbps. Duplex refers to how data flow on the interface. On a half duplex interface, data can only be transmitted or received at any given time. A full duplex interface, on the other hand, can send and receive data simultaneously. The description text interface subcommand lets you add a text description to the interface. It is meant to provide a reminder in the configuration to describe what certain interfaces are used for. It is a text description configured by the administrator. For instance, let's take an example that configures the duplex speed and a description command, all just after the interface FA01 command, which means that all of these configuration setting applies to interface FA0/1 and not the other interfaces. The show interface status command lists much of the detail configured even with only one line of the output per interface. Working through the output in this example, FA0/1, the output lists the first few characters of the configured description. It also lists the configured speed of 100 and duplex full as per the speed and duplex command. However, it also states that FA0/1 has a status of not connect, meaning that the interface is not correctly working. FA0/2, which did not configure this port at all. This port has default configuration. Note that the auto under the test speed and duplex heading means that this port will attempt to auto-negotiate both settings when the port comes up. However, the port also does not have a cable connected to it. FA0/4, like FA0/2, this port has a default configuration but was cabled to another working device. This device completed the auto negotiation process. So instead of auto under the speed and duplex headings, the output lists the negotiated speed and duplex, A full and A100. Note that the text includes the A to mean that the listed speed and duplex values were auto negotiated. Let's configure multiple interfaces with the interface range command. To shorten your configuration work when making the same setting on multiple consecutive interfaces, to do so use the interface range command. For example, for interfaces from 11 till 20, end users will be connected. Let's see how administratively we can control interface state with shutdown command. As you might imagine, network engineers need a way to bring down an interface without having to travel to the switch and remove a cable. In short, we need to be able to decide which port should be enabled and which port should be disabled. Cisco uses two interface subcommands to configure the idea of administratively enabling and disabling an interface: the shutdown command and the no shutdown command. In this case, switch 1 has working interface FA0/1. The user disables the interface. iOS generates a log message each time an interface fails or recovers, and log message appears at the console. Let's see removing configuration with the no command. You can revert to the default setting by issuing a no version of the command. Switch FA0/2 port has been configured with speed 100, duplex half, description, and shutdown. Let me give you an example. The no speed command on that same interface reverts to the same default speed setting, which happens to be speed auto. Same idea with the duplex command, and in earlier configuration of duplex half followed by no duplex on the same interface reverts the configuration back to the default of duplex auto. Use the no description command to go back to the default state of having no description on that interface. Next, let's see what is Ethernet auto negotiation. Auto negotiation is a feature that allows a port on a switch, router, server, or other device to communicate with the device on the other end of the link to determine the optimal duplex mode and speed for the connection. For any 10/100 or 10/100/1000 interface, Cisco Catalyst switch default to setting of duplex auto and speed auto. As a result, those interfaces attempt to automatically determine the speed and duplex setting to use. Alternatively, you can configure most devices switch interfaces included to use a specific speed or duplex. Ethernet devices on the end of the link must use the same standard. Otherwise, they cannot correctly send data. For example, a NIC cannot use 100 base T, which uses a UTP cable with 100 Mbps speed, while the switch port on the other end of the link uses 1000 base T. The link would not work with one end trying to send 100 Mbps while the other tried to receive the data at 1000 Mbps. The IEEE Auto Negotiation Protocol, also known as 802.3U, helps make it easier to operate a LAN when NICs and switch ports support multiple speeds. IEEE Auto Negotiation defines a protocol that lets the two UTP-based Ethernet nodes on a link negotiate so that they each choose to use the same speed and duplex setting. Let's see what happens when IEEE auto negotiation results with both nodes working correctly. The switch port claims it can go as fast as 1000 Mbps, but PC's one NIC claims a top speed of 10 Mbps. Both the PC and the switch choose the fastest speed that each supports 10 Mbps and the best duplex that each supports full. PC2 claims a best speed of 100 Mbps, which means it can use a 10 base T or 100 base T. The switch port and the NIC negotiate to use the best speed of 100 Mbps and full duplex. PC3 uses a 10/100/1000 NIC, supporting all the three speeds and standards. So both the NIC and switch port chooses a 1000 Mbps and full duplex. Let's see what happens when with auto negotiation results when only one node uses auto negotiation. Most Ethernet devices can disable auto negotiation, so it is just as important to know what happens when a node tries to use auto negotiation but the node does not get any response. IEEE auto negotiation defines some rules that nodes should use as default when auto negotiation fails. That is, when a node tries to use the auto negotiation but hears nothing from the device. The rules such as speed. Use your slowest supported speed of 10 Mbps. Duplex. If your speed is 10 or 100, use half duplex. Otherwise, use full duplex. Cisco switches can make a better choice than that base IEEE speed default because Cisco switches can actually sense the speed used by other nodes, even without IEEE auto negotiation. As a result, Cisco switches use this slightly different logic to choose the speed when auto negotiation fails. Speed. Sense the speed without using auto negotiation, but if that fails, use the IEEE default, slowest supported speed of 10 Mbps. Duplex. Use the IEEE default. If speed is equal to 10 or 100, use the half duplex. Otherwise, use full duplex. That's it for this session. In my next session, we will do some practicals on interface configuration. Thank you for watching.